What's up fam, it is Indiana here. Today I'm reviewing The Batman. I went and saw this movie last night, so I've had a night to sleep on it to gather my thoughts and really tell you what I think of this movie. I will get into spoilers, but that will be later. I will tag spoilers when I get to it, but for this first part, there's no spoilers, it's just a general overview of the film and what I thought. Obviously, the first question is, does it live up to the hype? And the answer is yes, it does. It's a very well done detective movie. It feels more like a psychological thriller than a superhero movie. Batman as the world's greatest detective, this movie really does that justice. No other Batman movie has lent into the mystery solving as much as this one does, and I really appreciated it for that. The cast is phenomenal. Everyone does so well in their roles. You can't even really tell that it's Robert Pattinson once he puts on the Batman mask. It's a completely different transformation. Same with Colin Farrell as the Penguin. You can't tell it's him, it's just Penguin. And they all do so well. The cinematography is gorgeous. I don't think there's a bad shot in the film. Like, every shot is beautifully done. Michael Giacchino's music, the Batman theme is going to be living in my head rent-free for the rest of the day. Obviously, it's a fantastic score, but I think the repetition of it and the way he uses it, he plays it on different instruments with different harmonies at different points to bring about a feel that's right for the scene, but it's still the Batman theme. And I think it's really cool, and it's going to become quite iconic, I think. Overall, the plot is fantastic. It's a great mystery, and it unravels slowly. That the 3-hour runtime doesn't feel like 3 hours. It feels long, but you're not sitting there thinking, oh, when are we going to get to the next part? It's drawn out, and every minute is needed to progress the story. I think they did it really well. Act 1, great setup for everything. Right from the opening, they show you that this is going to be a different Batman movie. It's going to be a thriller. And there's moments that are genuinely shot like it's a horror movie, but it's good. Act 2 continues it really well, but Act 3, I think it falters a little bit, just in terms of some of the action. It feels more comic booky and doesn't quite fit with the rest of the film. And I enjoy the comic bookiness, but it just doesn't fit as well with Act 1 and 2, and so that's the only reason I'd say it falters a little bit. Overall, it's a solid movie from beginning to end. I probably didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would, but it's still very good. Stay tuned at the end for my rating. I'm now going to get into a bit of spoiler talk. This is just general on the characters and how they did, and a bit of things about the plot. If there's big spoilers, I will tag those as well. So firstly, let's start off with the characters. So Robert Pattinson is Batman. Fantastic. I say Robert Pattinson is Batman because Bruce Wayne isn't even there. He plays Bruce Wayne, sure, he's not in the Batsuit, but when I look at him, I just see Batman. There's a point in the film where Riddler is looking at him as Batman. He says, "This is your true self." And I think, yeah, he's just Batman. He's not this Bruce Wayne, playboy billionaire, whatever you want to think about him, from Bale or Affleck or Keaton or whoever else. He's very much just Batman. He's a lonely orphan boy who's taken on this suit and he's fighting. He is vengeance. I think they do his introduction really well. I love the element of fear and his emergence from the darkness. That was really cool. And yeah, like I said before, you can't tell it's him behind the suit. You can't tell it's Robert Pattinson. It's just Batman. So props off to the costuming department for that. He does feel quite lonely. He does make him feel alone, and I think, yeah, he just plays him really solidly. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, fantastic. The chemistry between her and Pattinson was incredible. You could feel the tension in the room. Wasn't a standout for me. She was just good. Everything I thought Catwoman should be, so that was alright. I think she was played well. I did find her introduction a little bit weird. Coming into the meeting with the Penguin, I've just found that a bit plot convenient, but is what it is. She was fine, I guess. Nothing really to say on that. Penguin, I thought was fantastic. Colin Farrell, you can't tell it's him, and that was just, he really lent into the whole mob boss thing, and he seemed like he was having a lot of fun with it as well, and so I really thought he did so well. I was completely sold on him as the Penguin and not some actor in a suit and makeup. He was just phenomenal, and I would love to see more of him, and I think we will. If you've heard there might be a Penguin spin-off TV show as well as a potential Batman sequel, so hopefully we see more of him. Obviously the Riddler is the big thing. I'm scared of Paul Dano. I see him in interviews and he's a lovely guy. I really think he's phenomenal, but man, this movie scared me of him. I've seen him in Prisoners and he was freaky in that as well. So yeah, he's intense, and I think he was a good fit to play the Riddler in this film. He feels a bit more like the Joker in his insanity, I guess, but he does do really well. There's a moment where his body doesn't move, but his mouth and his eyes are the only thing that move, and gave me chills. He does very well even in costume. When you can't really see his face, you just see his eyes and you hear his voice, and yeah, it's freaky, and that is where the horror element comes in. You know, Batman at the start talks about using fear as a weapon, and the criminals think he's in the darkness, but walking from my car into my house last night, I thought that the Riddler was in the darkness. So yeah, he's disturbing. Andy Serkis as Alfred, I wish we got to see more of him, but I guess he felt like a very small player. That was the only thing. Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon, again, just solid work. He kind of sold the history between Batman and Gordon. I think that was what he did really well, is that he plays it like he knows Batman, which in this universe he does. Like, he's not just getting to know him, he knows him, he's worked with him, and I think that was really good. And then John Turturro? I don't know how you say his last name, but Carmine Falcone, he was just good. Nothing special to say about him. In terms of plot, I thought, yeah, the first hour or so was just fantastic. I was really sold with that. The second hour, it got going, and I was thinking, where is this headed? I don't know what the whole point of it is, and mystery is slowly unfolding, and it's good, but I didn't know what the point of the plan is. And so Act 3, I feel, failed on that a little bit. It didn't have the same weight as Act 1 and 2. Obviously, you have a big battle sequence at the end, and that, I think, was a part of it. It wasn't that intense ending that I thought it would be. Something that I did like was Batman's combat. I have no issues with Zack Snyder's Batman with Affleck using guns and killing people, but in this one, it's really cool to see him not use guns and not kill anybody. It's a fantastic fighting style, and I think they really pulled it off very well. You know, he's flinging guys over the edge, but he's not killing them, he's just letting them hang there, and I think that was really good. One issue as an Australian at the moment, this is kind of a context thing. We've got really bad flooding on the east coast here in Australia at the moment, in New South Wales and Queensland. And so flooding Gotham City, I just thought of that and I was like, oh, I don't know how people are going to react to this in Australia. But that's purely a context thing. Obviously, they couldn't have known when they made this film, but for that to be shown, I was just like, oh, and you see people, you know, running away from it and everything, and it just made me think of the news at the moment. And so that was the only thing where I was questioning this movie and the context that it came out in. You know, being an almost post-COVID world, there was no issues with that. It was just the timing of the flooding in this movie. Gotham as a city feels more like New York, I guess, than, you know, the Nolan movies, which were very much Chicago, obviously, because it was shot there. Yeah, this is a different Gotham, and it's dingy and it's dirty, and I think that was done really well as well. Again, cinematography, impeccable, fantastic work. It was gorgeous to watch, and I don't think there was a bad shot. And yes, the music, again, just phenomenal work. The criticisms I have, mostly to do with Act 3, I thought once we got the Riddler's plan and he bombed Gotham, I assumed there was going to be a point where we went back to him and he made some final statement, or, you know, did something that was like the finality of it, but we never did. I mean, obviously we go back to him at one point, which I'll get to, but yeah, I thought we were going to go back to him and he was going to just explain a bit more of his motivation or something like that. I don't know, maybe I just missed something along the way, maybe I need a rewatch, but I just felt like that was slightly incomplete. Yeah, it will be interesting if I go for a rewatch what I think of it the second time. Before I talk about it, this is probably the biggest spoiler of the film. If you don't want to know any more spoilers, then fast forward to the next section, but I will be talking about a big spoiler in about 3, 2, 1. So we need to talk about that cameo. Barry Keoghan is confirmed to play the Joker of this universe. He makes an appearance at the end of the film with the Riddler in Arkham. He is very much hidden in the shadows, but you can still tell it's him. I'd heard rumors about this for months, so it wasn't a surprise to me. However, it was still cool to see, but if I've got to be honest, I didn't enjoy it that much. I thought his laugh was a bit weird. I was more invested in the Riddler, at that point, and so getting me excited about the Joker, I was just like, okay. I more liked the Riddler than I did seeing the Joker appear at all. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him, but at the moment, I don't really care much for it. I just want to see more of the Riddler because he was fantastic. So yes, there is my review. Overall, I'd probably give it an 8.5 out of 10 because it's a fantastic film. I just think the third act faltered a little bit in its execution and how they did everything. It just felt like a bit more comic booky and it wasn't as intense as the rest. It just felt like it didn't match the rest of the film in its intensity. That's the only thing. Other than that, fantastic. Obviously, people want to know what's better, this or The Dark Knight, because The Dark Knight is considered the best Batman movie and one of the greatest movies of all time. At the moment, I probably prefer The Dark Knight, mostly because it's just a solid movie. I can't find a flaw with it. I really can't. And I think it feels more comic booky, which I enjoy, as opposed to a psychological thriller. Obviously, they're quite different movies, but right now, The Dark Knight ranks a bit higher for me, and I just enjoy it more than I did The Batman. So there you have it. That is my review. Let me know what you thought of this movie. Let me know what you thought of my review. If you agree with me on a lot of this stuff, if you have criticisms, let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like this video and hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned for more content and reactions coming soon. Be sure to follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok. Anything else that begins with a T. The links are in the description below. Until next time, thank you for joining me on my review of The Batman. Be sure to drink water, stay hydrated, and I will see you next time.